Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. And it reads, Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search diligently for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh, and been warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. We'd like to speak this morning from the thought, don't go back the same way you came. Don't go back the same way you came. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. The journey from the east. We're not given the backstory, but let me tell you from research that it was a long journey. But the journey was worth it, because the wise men got to see somebody, a child, whom the scriptures say was not elected king of the Jews, but was born king of the Jews. And just think, out of all the things that these wise men did in their lives, out of all the trips that they might have taken, this one season, or this one journey of their lives, is preserved in Scripture for both time and eternity.
Yes.
This trip was just that important.
Yes, sir.
And it is recorded for us, Glenn Powell, because their steps and the journey that they took is really the journey of every man and every woman who has ever lived on this earth. Every man and every woman, no matter what else is going on in their lives, is on a journey to see Jesus. And undoubtedly, the Christmas season, with all of its holly and garland and jingle bells, the Christmas season represents a lot of different things to a lot of different people. The question is not whether you got what you wanted for Christmas. The question is not whether you're happy or sad this season. The question this morning, Lee Bernard, is where are you on your journey? The journey of the wise men, Sister Mary Williams, that's your journey. The journey has a starting point, which is where you were born, Sister Valita Smith, and your early surroundings. The starting point for the wise men, Reverend Parker, wasn't Jasper County, but it was in the east, in Babylonia, or more likely Persia. And the point is this: everybody, Sister Stamps, has a starting point. Whether we leave where we were born or not, every day we live is about the journey of the spiritual trip that we are on. Now, what is significant about the wise men's trip to see Jesus is this: the destination is Bethlehem. But once Jesus is seen or encountered, the journey doesn't end. In fact, the journey could go on in a couple of different directions, Sister Mary Williams. You are the wise men. You can either go back the way you came, through some of the same places, talking about some of the same things, having the same anti-Christ, anti-church. Church hurt ain't nothing but an invention of Satan to keep you on your way to hell. Your mama hurt you at your mama's house. You got mama hurt. You got daddy hurt. Hollering about church hurt. Your no good daddy hurt you because he wasn't there. You got a couple of different ways you can go once you have your first encounter with the Lord. You can go back to some of the same places you've been, singing some of the same songs from the same old sheet of music.
Yes, sir.
Or you can go in a different direction.
Yes, sir.
One that bypasses Herod and all of those Mary Williams who are really God haters. This brings me to my first point. Hear it and hear it well. The wise men saw Herod before.
Come on now. All right. Come on now. Yes, sir.
It was two kings. One was born king and the other was the reigning king. You meet the reigning king before you meet Jesus.
Yes, sir.
You meet them doubters before you meet Jesus. You meet them Q's before you meet Jesus. You meet Cavassier. You meet sexual immorality. You meet pride. You meet everything the world got to offer before you meet Jesus. You're going to have your experience with the world on the college campus, Prairie View A&M, JSU, Grambling. For those of you at PWIs, the University of Southern Mississippi, Oh, Mrs. Fraternity Row. You're going to have your encounter with the world before you have any dealings with Christ. Herod represents the world and everything that's wrong with it.
Come on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, the historical Herod. Let me give you the benefit of my study. He was a murderous, bloodthirsty, jealous, vengeful Negro. He ruled with an iron fist. My way or no way. His atrocities are well documented in the annals of secular history. Now, my sisters and my brothers, more symbolically, we have all spent some time with Herod. And some of you have spent some time being Herod.
All right. Yes.
If we didn't meet Herod at home, not long after we left home, we met him on our journey. Herod looked good to us. When Jesus was being tempted in the wilderness and the devil took him to a high place and showed him the kingdoms of the world, he was showing him Herod's kingdom. You see, everything that looked good to you ain't good for you. But like the prodigal going to the far country, when you can see the lights on the way, you get excited. Is it all right to preach in here? I can see the lights of New Orleans when I'm going down to the Superdome. I can see the lights of Bourbon Street before I get there. You can see the floating unit floating on the river. You get excited about gambling while you're going down I-20.
Yes, sir.
Herod looked good to us, enticing. Woman call you and send you a picture. You get up out your bed in the middle of the night, drive 2 states over. Don't stop for gas. Don't stop to use the bathroom. Cowboy, a woman will call you, you in the bed with your wife, you would get up, leave your wife, leave your children. I'm talking about some of your daddies who done that. You ain't gonna tell me Herod ain't enticing. Negro created an iPhone, he created something for Herod to use. Herod send you a picture of something, you get up. Stephen Caldwell will tear that truck up trying to get home. Herod done sent me a picture. Verses 7 and 8 of the passage under our consideration said Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men. I need to know what time the star first appeared. These are not some ignorant astronomers from a season gone by. These Chaldeans most likely were the ones who came up with our first calendars. They were well versed on the timing of events based on the heavenly bodies in the sky. And they wanted to know what time did the star first appear. And then he told the wise men, I believe it's in Bethlehem. Go on over to Bethlehem, look diligently for this child. And when you find him, come back, because I want to be a worshiper too. But Herod know how to entice a Negro. Know how to say the right thing to the right person at the right time. Some of us got tricked into Herod's arms. Some of y'all got tricked into Herod's bed. Some of y'all got tricked drinking Herod's wine. Can I preach in here? Everybody done woke up at Herod's house wondering what the Herod done happened. Herod had no intention of worshiping Jesus. He is deceitful like that. All of us have been lied to, lied on, talked about, and some of us trusted folk diligently before we understood that even those closest to us lie. Some of you in here married right now and you got lies between you. Can I talk in here? You think you lying in your own bed at your house? You lying in the bed with Herod.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
You understand? Herod wanted to kill Jesus. Not worship him. Kill him. When they asked the wise men what time the star appeared, it was to calculate the time that Christ must have been born. This was no baby in a manger. He was a small child then, most likely a toddler.
Yes.
And later the Bible records that Herod, based on the time that the wise men gave him, he would have every child 2 years old and under born in Bethlehem. He would murder them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that age was calculated based on the time the wise men gave him in verse 7.
Yes.
But to the wise men, Herod appeared helpful.
Oh, yeah.
See, there are some wise men that have called you when you were a young girl and they molested you.
Yes, sir.
And they raped you.
Yeah.
Lured you with a box of chicken.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. All right. Yes. All right. That's right.
Bought you some flowers because nobody ever bought nobody from Rolling Fork any flowers. Bought you some perfume at Christmas, not realizing that he bought 10 other women the same perfume set. Ripped the $2 tag off of it.
Yes, sir. Come on, fellas.
I need you to understand. Ladies, when you meet Herod, he's the perfect Bible-carrying gentleman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He ain't after Jesus' treasure. He after your treasure. And men, he's the best friend you ever had. Watch the game with you, talk football with you, will even roll one up and smoke it with you. Herod introduces us, Glenn Powell, to the world and all of his terrible ways. You wasn't always sexually immoral. You got introduced to sexual immorality. You wasn't a born drinker. You got introduced to drinking.
Yes, sir.
Everything that's evil, you wasn't born hating. Herod had to introduce you to it. You wasn't born stealing. Somebody had to show you how to steal. Can I talk in here? Sometimes they taught you by the stuff they stole from you. Herod even appears religious
Oh, come on, Pastor.
and has a desire, Sister Luvella Brown, to worship. I need you to hear it, because many of you are going to have Herods around your table this week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your children look up at you with the eyes of Herod, having been out in the world, bringing their sloppy seconds to your table.
Yes, sir. Yes. Preach, Pastor. All right.
Any of you who've ever asked me, are you going to come over for dinner, Pastor? You know my second question is, who going to be there? Because if Herod is there, you ain't got to worry about me coming. Because I don't care what act Herod put on. I know he's a low-down, murderous, lying, deceitful son of a gun. Got no interest in serving Jesus, but only has an interest in tricking me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Herod is the one who's out in the world, relishing the power of the world. But mention the name Jesus, get to talking about the church and the Bible, and all of a sudden the Negro's sensitive. Talking about he was hurt by the church. Talking about preachers ain't no good. What he really mean is a no good preacher beat him to the woman he was trying to get. One thing to point out, though the wise men were in Jerusalem for a period, dealing with Herod, they didn't stay there. They went to the capital city, Jerusalem, looking for Jesus. There was a king there, but it wasn't Jesus. And when they found out that Jesus wasn't there, they left. Likewise, many of us, Brother Cowboy, we didn't stay exclusively in the world. We left Herod and we began to seek Jesus. This brings me to my second point. Hear it and hear it well, Sister Mary. The wise men left Herod and went to seek Jesus. The religious phase of our lives. When you was first made a deacon, Cowboy. When some of you preach your first sermon, you might not be preaching no more, but you preach your first sermon. I remember my grandfather used to say on Thanksgiving, he used to say, the closer we get to the house, the faster you drive. He said, you trying to get there to pray that prayer. Well, I'm going through my religious phase.
Yes, sir.
And I call it a phase because Mary Williams, some of us are going to leave Jesus and we going to go back the same way we came. Negro live 75 years, 80 years, ain't learned nothing from your journey. We left Herod, spent some time with Jesus, and then end up going right back to Herod. This time got a bottle of blue pills with us. Heard Herod was throwing a party, didn't know what it was about the first time. Now I know, so I'm going back ready.
Yes, sir.
Understand this. As we age, we are looking for some answers. We're following our own star, Sister Sarah Thompson, hoping that it will lead us to salvation and everything our heart desires. The wise men discovered that Jesus was not in Jerusalem, but they did find him in Bethlehem. Bethlehem ain't like Jerusalem. One of the gospel writers records the wise men saying, let us go even unto Bethlehem. In other words, Bethlehem wasn't a happening place. It wasn't a mighty metropolitan city like Jerusalem. It was out in the county somewhere, back out in the woods, just an outpost of the mighty Roman Empire. Were it not for prophecy, it would not have been significant at all. My sisters and my brothers, they found Jesus even in Bethlehem. But where did you find Jesus? If preaching saves and the Bible teaches that preaching saves, then under whose preaching were you saved? Some of y'all are still living under Herod's sermons. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you found Jesus, what did you do with him?
Come on.
When you found him, did you serve him? Did you forsake all others? Can I talk in here?
Yes, sir.
There's a part in the marriage vows that says, Brother Cowboy, forsaking all others till death do us part. But if you forsook Jesus, you're going to forsake her too.
Yes, sir.
Somebody who ain't got nothing for Jesus, you ought not marry him because they ain't going to have nothing for you.
Yes, sir.
Because Herod is their boss. I hope you hear me, Sister Carol Wells.
All right. Yes.
Did you forsake all others? Did you make Christ first?
Yes.
Matthew 2:11 records what the wise men did when they went even unto Bethlehem. When they found Jesus, they were not out in the field somewhere, as the Christmas cards suggest. They were in a house. And they entered the house and they saw the child with his mother. And they bowed down before Christ, who was little more than a toddler. And then they opened their treasure chest. And I need you to understand that this was not pounds and pounds of gold. This was only a little bit of everything. Because they could not possibly travel and carry gold the way gold is measured. But it was symbolic of the king. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They worshiped, they bowed. The gifts symbolized his royalty, but also the way in which he would die one day. The wise men left the east with only a star to guide them. They entered Jerusalem thinking that they had found him. Matthew 2:2 indicates when they got to Jerusalem, they inquired of his whereabouts. They were looking for one king and instead found King Herod. They didn't settle down in Bethlehem, in Jerusalem, to enjoy Herod at his palace. Neither did they give their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to Herod.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Some of us passing through, you're going to give your best time, your best talents, your 13th check to Herod.
Yes, sir.
Everything that's good about you, you left it at LD's.
Yes, sir.
You left it at Soups, you Jackson folk.
Yes, sir.
Everything that's good about you, you left it at Jackson State. Can I talk in here? I need you to understand they did not give their gifts to Herod because they understood that he is not the rightful king.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All that we see, we understand, Brother Cornelius, that Obama ain't worth worshiping.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Trump ain't worth worshiping. There's only one rightful king. Any other king that desires worship is an illegitimate king.
Yes, sir.
So we do not give our best to the world.
Yes.
We don't leave our best in Jerusalem. We search for the rightful king. My sisters and my brothers, after a short stay in Jerusalem, they took their gifts and they left looking for Jesus again. And when they found him, they gave him the best they had.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And let me just say this, Janet Samuel. We ain't going to be no years building a church if I'm going to build it.
Yes, sir.
If I'm going to build it, we're going to be breaking ground over the next 18 months. And the way we don't is if I'm dead or not here. Because I refuse to deal with Negroes that won't do what they told. If you saving your best for Herod, you and Herod can have it. I'm trying to make sure we on the right page here, so you can understand exactly what I'm saying. We ain't in here just to play with Herod. I want to look you in your eyes when I tell you this. Either we gonna do this or we ain't gonna do it. Can I talk in here? I need you to understand that. Either we gonna do it or we ain't gonna do it. And we're going to do it either with you or without you. But what must be done must be done. Can I preach in here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Yes.
So we done set the record straight on that.
Yes, sir.
You're the best you're ever going to be when you're in your religious phase in the house of God. You in the religious season of your lives right now. And it's here in the church, cowboy. It's here in the church, why dare you, where you at least act like you taking Christ serious. For Leader Smith, this is the middle-aged us. We left home, Sister Fairley, a long time ago. And now we done had some dealings with both God and Satan. We are as far away, Ernest Bernard, from the home that we grew up in as we will ever be. If you can imagine the starting point being home and then going out into the world, having your dealings with Herod, Sister Barry, but also having your dealings with the church and Christ. At some point, Lee Bernard, when you got up in North Jersey, you was as far away from home as you would ever be.
Yes, sir.
But then you had to circle.
Come on. All right.
When you were up, Sister Samuel, up in the Chicago area, you were as far from home as you would ever be. And then you have to circle back. Can I talk in here? Now it's time to turn on your journey and start heading back.
Yes, sir.
Sister Thompson, you are as far from Red Lick. Sister Thuha is far from Cannonsburg.
Yes.
Now it's time to turn on your journey and start heading back. As the hymnologist put it, it's getting late in the evening. And the sun is starting to go down. When you were younger, you could waste time, but you also had time to learn and season from all the mistakes you made and all gone. But you don't have that kind of time no more.
Yes, sir.
The psalmist said, Lord, teach me to number my days. Your days can be numbered. Can I preach in here? They are not innumerable, Sister Samps. These days now, Dr. Thompson, they are numbered.
Yes, sir.
Christmases that have been won't be no more. It ain't but a few more weary days, and then, after experiencing both God and Satan, Mother McPherson, you got a decision to make.
Yes, sir.
And that decision is, how am I, Brenda Bernard, going to end this journey?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How am I going to end it? I done lived past midlife, Sister Top.
Yes.
I done gone out in the world, experienced both good and bad, both Herod and Christ. And now the question becomes that I found out that I can't stay here.
Yes, sir.
How am I going to end this journey? Will we go back and retrace the same steps it took to get where we are, dealing with some of the same people?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Having some of the same conversations. Rewind, play. Rewind, play. Listen, you can judge by how far you done gone in your marriage. If you're experiencing some of the same themes, that means you just got older. You just ain't got very far away. Having some of the same conversations. Or will you go another way? Mary Williams said, keeps you away from Herod. Keeps you away from the world. In other words, some of us, Brother Stamps, we get a taste of the world in our mouths, and we might go on a diet for a while. We might come hang out in church, but we really ain't got the taste of the world out of our hearts yet. And so every now and then we get a little hungry. So we end up retracing our steps, making some of the same mistakes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This brings me to my third and final point. Hear it and hear it well. Once you meet Jesus, here it is, Sister Fallon. Some of us ought to be finished with some stuff.
All right.
We ought to be finished with Herod. I wonder sometime, Brother Stephen Caldwell, who will be the recipient, the male recipient of your father's legacy. He won't live all the time. And at one time when Devin was in church, I thought it would be Devin. But now I see you and I wonder, are you at the age now where you're ready to circle back? You've experienced the church coming up. You've also been out in the world. But I wonder what direction you're going to take as you are headed back. Are you finished with the world just as he had to circle back and be finished with the world? Or will you return? The Lord has already told me that there is a male coming behind him who will inherit his legacy. And I said it was Devin. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's you. But that man's living will not go in vain. Because somebody has been watching it. Somebody has seen the change. And somebody is going to take up the mantle of Christ in that family. Are you finished with Herod? Because all of us are headed home. He headed home. He headed home. I'm headed home. Bernard's chain gonna be broken. Headed home. You won't always be where you are, cowboy, talking about the preaching was meant for other folk. Now it's about you. You ain't no boy no more. If you even thought about taking that pill and mixing it with another pill, that means you ain't no boy no more. That means you full grown. And it means you can get out of here at any time. Can I preach in here? I need you to understand each passing holiday season, you're coming closer to home, to the end of your journey. As the wise men left Bethlehem, the Bible reads in verse 12, when it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route. The Bible says God warned them in a dream. But some of y'all, you get your warnings, you act like you never heard. Sister Coleman say, you don't cry when they die. Cry for what? I warned them. I warned them over and over. I told them, I called their name. I looked them eyeball to eyeball. What in the world I'm crying for? They were warned, Stamps, in a dream not to return to Herod. You may have 20 years left in this life. Oh, my, we don't know. But those 20 years are a journey that you're taking to your destination. I can remember witnessing to many of you when you first came to know Christ. And I remember Reverend Parker telling me a prayer that he prayed to God. He wanted to know the final resting place of his soul. I'm telling you, my sisters and my brothers, your soul is calling out to you. It's wanting to know its final resting place. There are some sick beds you won't get up out of. There are some times in the hospital when you ain't going to come out. You're coming out now, but there's going to be a time you're going to go in and you ain't going to come out. Is it all right to talk in here? There's a time when you won't be able to nurse your body back to health. Used to be, Sister Cynthia, you could get over a hangover real quick. And now you drink, you get older, man, you might not ever come back. Some of y'all talk crazy now. Alzheimer's because all that whiskey you drank when you were younger. All them tequila shots. All that dope you did. All them lines you snorted. I know y'all uppity in here, so you don't mess with. Whitney Houston say crack is whack. So some of y'all been doing them lines. Ain't no need of you laughing. I can point your friends out. I can point your friends out. Negroes think they made it when they graduate from the route to the line. But you on your way home. And you got to meet the Lord when you leave here. Are you going to go back through enemy territory? Doing some of the same things that you've always done. My sisters and my brothers, you're warned. And I don't mean doing the same things you did when you were younger. I know you're too old for that. But what I mean is this. Why enjoy in your mind the lifestyle you used to enjoy? When you go to bed, what do you dream about? Do you dream when you were younger and I used to do this and oh boy, if I was you, I'd tear that up. That means you going right back to the places that you came from. Can I talk in here? When others speak of the effect that Jesus had on them, why take up for the lifestyle that Herod taught you? Why tell people who are trying to live holy, it don't take all that? Well, you didn't tell him that when he was getting drunk, when he was stepping out on his wife, when he was bringing his girlfriends by your house so you could run interference. You wasn't saying it was too much then, but now when we start serving the Lord, all of a sudden you say it's too much. Be wondering what the hell is wrong with some of y'all. God is warning you not to go back to that ugly person you once were. He's warning us that we shouldn't have the same conversations we used to have. Let me just share this with you. When I think about myself, because you do understand, I've gone as far as I'm going to go. And I'm circling back. What I don't want to do is end up in the same situation, thinking the same things that I used to think, chasing the same stuff that I used to chase, having the same mindset that I used to have. I don't want to, as I get older, whatever days God got left for me. The saddest thing in my life would be to have some of them same old feelings that I used to have. Now, my sisters and my brothers, that you've experienced Christ, the only other kingdom belongs to Herod. You understand, it was fine for the wise men, Brother Glenn Powell, to pass through Jerusalem and have their conversation with Herod, but they were really on their way to see the Christ child. But if you've seen the Messiah and have worshiped him, Sister Berry, and have worshiped him, Sister Nancy Jean, you've seen him and have worshiped him. Your job now as you circle back, Sister Wideria, is not to go near Herod. Don't go down that street. Don't go on that block. Don't even go on that Facebook page. Can I preach in here? I need you to understand it now. Don't go back the same way you came. Don't spend the last decade or so of your life living for Herod, doing the same things and visiting the same people that you visited when you and Herod met the first time. Stephen Caldwell, when I hear your father talk, he talked a lot about his mistakes, but at least he learned from them. He said, I told the Lord if he let me get married one more time, I'm going to do it his way. Can I preach in here? I need you to understand it now. In other words, I don't want to go back doing it the Herod way no more. I want to do it the way the Lord say do it. You see, many of us, as I go to my seat, we think life is linear, and it is if you save. The older you get, the more you progress. But the reality is some of us are looping back to Herod. Looping back to him. You see, now the Herods you deal with, they're younger than you. They sitting around your table. They're your kids and grandkids, nieces and nephews. Little Herod sitting at your table. And you enjoying their company. When I hear my sons, they get in the shower and then they buy these amplifiers where they can play this music while they're showering. And I be hearing that beating. And Daniel Ryan, I go to the foot of the stairs leading to your room and I listen. Because if it's of Satan, I'm going to snatch it out the wall. When HBO first came out, it was a big thing. But I better not get caught watching HBO when I was coming up. I better not get caught watching Black Gold. They weren't going to have no Herod in the house. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some of y'all letting your young ladies, you're raising them up to be bait for Herod. In these young dance groups, talking about how she got a cute little figure. And yeah, Herod is going to molest her because you keep feeding his flesh. Can I preach in here? Putting a wig on her, putting lipstick on her, trying to make her older than what she really is. And when somebody snatch her up, then you act like somebody done something wrong. The message from heaven this Christmas is this. You've been there. You've done that. Don't go back the same way that you came. And if you're here this morning and God has spoken to your heart, This altar's open for you. Won't you stand?